Yeah, so that's my another account, different account, which I'm basically using so that I can read all of your messages and all that. So, and let's start off officially with today's class. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So, yesterday we ended our class while discussing the concept of how we discussed three major topics, right? We had, wait, where is it? 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 Yeah. So, if you guys remember, yesterday we started off officially with 1.2 and 1.3 of the syllabus. 1.2, 1.2 and 1.3 of the syllabus. We discussed what's text, what's sound, and finally, today we are going to be discussing the very last thing of the syllabus, which is images. How does the computer understand these images? How does it store images and all the relevant concepts? So if you haven't watched yesterday's recording, just to clear it up, ये जो हमने कल पढ़ा है that has nothing to do with today's lecture. तो even if you're taking this class right now, आपको उसी तरीके से समझ आएगी जैसे normally आप एक ऐसे क्लास को ले रहे हो जहाँ पे आपने पिछली recording देखी होगी. So just a second. So now the thing is, the topic which we are basically going to be discussing today, that is called as images. What? It's known as images. Images. अब images में क्या होता है? Let's say Saifullah ने ना अपनी picture ले ली. Let's say Saifullah has his phone. He got a new iPhone. Guys, there is some issue with the tablet here. Let's say Saifullah got himself a new iPhone. Okay, this is the iPhone. Okay, तीन कैमरे बना देते हैं. This is Saifullah's. Can you see my writing? Guys, can anyone else confirm whether you can see my writing or not? I'm writing up here Saifullah's. It's visible. Saifullah's. Yeah, Saifullah. आप mic open कर लो. It's visible. आप leave करके rejoin कर लो. It should be clear. Because I have the other device connected up here and उस पे show हो रहा है. So Saifullah's iPhone. Okay. So we have Saifullah's iPhone up here. Up Saifullah took a picture on his new phone. Okay. He got a new phone and now he's taking picture. Chalo good. He's taking pictures. Up the thing is, now the phone has a camera, right? But if I take a picture using the camera, this cool camera, if I take a picture using this camera, अब computer को कैसे पता लगेगा? Like how will the computer understand that this person took a picture of maybe a tree? I have a tree and Saifullah was just taking a picture for his Instagram story and this is the tree, okay? And like let's say it's some sunset timing and we have some mountains up here and the view is really good and he wants to take a picture. But now the issue is that Saifullah gets the whole view. He can see the tree, he can see the mountains, he can see the sun or the moon, maybe whatever it is. But the computer won't understand that it's some sort of tree or it's a mountain or it's a sun. The computer only understands binary. Remember, we said the language of computers is binary. This means computer only gets zeros and ones. So the computer is going to convert this whole image into sets of ones and zero. So what is an image in terms of computer? So basically an image, let me take a different pen. So an image, इसके साथ क्या issue? Let me clean up the tablet. So an image is basically is a series. पहले ये लिख लो, then I will explain it up. Is a series of pixels. Let me get it up here. Is a series of pixels. We will discuss what pixels are. Okay, is a series of pixels that are converted into binary. Into what? Binary. Into binary, which are then processed by the computer, which are then processed by a computer. Now, the important part. अब ये जो है ना image, this is a definition of image, but in terms of computer, like a computer image is basically a series of pixels that are converted into binary form so that the computer can further process it. But before moving on, what do we mean by the word pixels? That is something really important to address. Now, pixel ऐसा होता है, let's say, have you guys heard the word 1080 pixel, 1080p, or maybe 720p, or maybe 2160p, These are basically pixels, right? When you watch some YouTube video, you go to that setting and you click that quality thingy section, you get these options. You can watch in 1080p, which is full HD. Then you have a 720 pixel, not megapixel, it's only pixel. MP is megapixel, like sometimes we say 12 megapixel camera. So that is 12 MP. But right now we are only referring to, yes, likewise, if you also say, let's say I get a phone of 12 megapixel camera, we still have the word pixel in it, right? This P is pixel, this big P is also pixel. What does the word pixel mean? That is something which should be there in your question, in your mind. Now, pixel basically refers to the smallest element that could be represented on a screen. Element, smallest element that could be represented on a screen. Or if I give the very book represented on a screen, and let's just a second, if I give you the very exact definition of pixel, that is basically pixel is pixel. I saw it somewhere up here, so I also want to share it with you. So the exact definition of pixel is basically one specific area where when you combine all the different parts, it forms up an image. This is the definition which Google's given. But now, if we discuss it for a concept, a pixel is something like, let's say, this is a monitor. This is what? This is a monitor. I have this as a computer, okay? And now, if I divide this big monitor into pieces, अच्छा ऐसे करते हैं, आई डोंट नो इसका क्या वजह है, फिर आई विल, चलो जूम के ऊपर भी लेट्स से let me try it up on Zoom and देखते हैं if the screen stucks or not, or maybe it might be an issue with my internet because I feel like there might be an issue with my internet. मैं इस तरह करता हूँ, I will increase my internet package, सही है? Let me increase my internet package a bit, and then let's see if there was still the same issue. Then we can maybe have a look at Zoom too. But abhi ke liye, let's just focus on the class. So this is a monitor, right? This is a monitor. Now, if I divide this monitor into pieces, like let's say if I turn it into one piece, then I divide it into two pieces, and then I divide it into, let's say, 16 pieces. And like if I further go on dividing until we get like a very small box like this, okay, something like this, or even smaller than that, maybe something like this. Now, this smallest box, the smallest box is basically 1 pixel. This is a pixel. So pixel is basically the smallest box, or perhaps the smallest element that could be represented on a screen. So let me just rewrite this because this might be a bit confusing. It's the smallest element that could be represented on a screen. Now, if I have something, when I say 1080 pixel, this basically means that I can break up the computer into 1080 such boxes. So I can have like these boxes, and if I add up all these boxes, they're going to be 1080 boxes. And now, how does the quality increase when we shift from a 720 to a 1080 pixel, and then from a 1080 to a 2160 pixel? Basically, every pixel can have a set color. Okay, every pixel can have a set color. Now, if I have a pixel, 3 pixel color, let's say 4 pixel color, let's say this is green, this is red, this is yellow, and this is, for instance, purple. Now, I can only have 4 colors, right? We can display 4 basically different shades. Yes, more pixels means better quality. Better quality because now if I have 1080 of those pixels, 1080 such boxes, each of the box could have a different sort of color. And so when we have a better coloring system, we have a better quality. And that is why when you buy a 4K TV, it has brighter colors because you can have much better shades. The definition for pixel is basically that a pixel represents the smallest element that could be, basically pixel is the smallest element that could be represented on a screen. This is what you need to write in the exam. We are going to be doing questions, don't worry, फिर marking scheme से भी मैं आप लोगों को बता देता हूँ. But for now, just understand कि pixel is the smallest element that could be represented on a screen. And if I look at this monitor, इसके अंदर जो आपका ये सबसे छोटा वाला डब्बा है ना, दैट इज बेसिकली योर पिक्सल, द स्मॉलेस्ट, जिसको आप फर्दर डिवाइड, लाइक सर सुलेमान, इफ यू टेक सर सुलेमान's classes you would have learned about atom, right? But if you break up atom into further, like for instance, in the first class sir would have told you that atom is the most smallest element that exists in terms of displays and computer monitors and screens. Pixel is the smallest element that ever exists, so you cannot break a pixel further on until or unless you want to improve the quality. So if I want to only have 720 pixel, I mean that the pixel उस screen के ऊपर, when I break the boxes into 720 equal parts, the smallest element that could be represented on a screen is basically called what? It's known as a pixel. But now we have understood this concept really well. But आप लोगों ने कभी screen resolution का सुना है? Screen resolution. Usually when you play games on your PC or something like that. यस यस, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, वो तो आगे आप लोग फिर पढ़ते जाओगे। एक सेकंड guys, एक सेकंड, बिजली चली गई, एंड सो लेट मी जस्ट कनेक्ट द यूपीएस वाला पोर्ट। यस, सो स्क्रीन रेजोल्यूशन का हमेशा आप लोगों ने सुना होगा कि whenever we are playing games we have something like 1080 x 720. So if you go to some game, maybe let's say you are playing Call of Duty, okay, and then you go to the settings option and then you go to the display settings, वहां पे you're going to find something like display, and then you can change the option to 1080 720, maybe sometimes it's 1366 x 768, stuff like that, or maybe it's also like 1920 into 1080. Now what are these numbers? We always change these numbers when we want to change the display style of display and stuff like that, but what are these numbers? That is a question which we need to answer right now. 1080 x 720, 1366 x 768, what are these numbers? These are basically dimensions. These are what? These are your dimensions. So if I have a laptop, okay, I have a laptop, let's make the screen of a laptop, and then here let's imagine this is just the screen of a laptop screen, okay. Now the thing is, this side is, let's say, 1080, and then this side is maybe 768. Then if we combine the two displays and we try to write the exact dimensions of the monitor screen, we write it as 1080 x 768. So this is basically giving us the dimensions of the screen. So 1080 means 1080 आपके इस तरह horizontally, and then 768 are vertically. Just like that, if I look at 1920 and 1080, this means that I have 1920 inches. Let's see, was it inches? Yes, it is. 1920 is no, it's not inches. It's pixels, my bad. So 1920 pixels on the horizontal side and 1080 pixels maybe on the vertical side. Now this gives us a full HD image. But if I look at only 1080 x 720, then that might not be a full HD image. Okay, that might be something of a lower quality. But what is the exact definition of screen resolution? So a screen resolution basically tells us how many pixels are there present in the entire display. So what is screen resolution? Screen resolution is, it tells us the total number of pixels that are present in the screen. Pixels that are present in the screen. So if I look at the above example, present in the screen, look at the same laptop monitor which we had earlier, this one. 1080 pixels x 768 pixels. Now, if I want to calculate how many total pixels we have, we say that we have total pixels are basically 1080 multiplied by 768. So this gives us a total amount of pixels we have on our screen. So usually when you buy a larger monitor, yes, मेरे ख्याल में से it's like this, but this is something you guys don't have to be worrying about. Just know that 1080 x 768 gives us the total number of pixels that are present in this screen. They won't be asking you कि vertically क्या होता है, horizontally क्या होता है, but they might be asking you, let's say, like it won't be giving you such complex examples, but let's say I have a computer which has like the display of 5 50 x 30 pixels. Okay, tell me the total amount of pixels, total number. So you just need to multiply. Remember, you guys don't, you won't be using calculators, so आप directly 50 multiply by 30 करें. Exactly, Saifullah, correct answer. But for this example, 50, I guess Saifullah was answering this 10 18 to 768 one. But if we are dealing with 50 into 30, it will be what? It's going to be 50 into 3 is what? 150. But if you multiply it with 30, it's 1500. So we just write the 1500 pixels. This means our computer has, our display basically, screen, monitor, or whatever iPad you have or whatever tablet you got, it has total 1500 pixels. But as you increase the number of pixels, your quality is going to increase because you can represent more color shades, which improves the overall quality of your device. But apart from screen resolution, there is one other definition you all guys also need to understand. So image resolution, if I write the very exact definition, it is also, I can also write it as, this is definition number one, and then I can also write a definition number two. The definition number two will be, the total it is the total number of pixels in the xy direction. Pixels in the xy direction. In the x, which is the horizontal, and then y, which is the vertical direction. When you study graph, remember, in the graph we always have this side, the upper vertical one, it's known as the y-axis, and then we always have the horizontal axis known as x-axis. So whenever we are trying to write it as in the numbers, we always go like x-axis maybe 1080, and then y-axis 720. So 1080 pixels on the horizontal screen side and 720 on the vertical. Also, let me guys give you a quick example. Nowadays, whatever device you are using, whatever device you are taking the class right now on, tell me one thing. Just look at the monitor or your whatever tablet you're using. Isn't your vertical side shorter than your horizontal side? Like your horizontal, it's like a square. It's like a square. Yes, Saifullah. What you can turn on your mic if you have a question.
Yes, sir. It's a square, like it's a box type thing.
Exactly. Exactly. Like, see, it's a rectangular shape thingy. When you have a rectangular type of thing, we always have something. The vertical side is less than the horizontal side. You see, this is longer. This horizontal side is longer than your vertical side. And this is basically the method of screens which we have nowadays. Like, whenever nowadays the manufacturers try to create a new type of monitor or screen, they always have a larger horizontal length and have a shorter vertical length. Maybe it's because it's more user friendly rather than the old TVs. If you guys remember, the old TVs were like square. If you guys have seen the old Sony TVs, they used to be like this. If it's 20, this used to be 20 inches. So it used to be like 20 x 20 pixels. But the issue with this was that nowadays, latest games and all those things, they are not compatible with this type of monitor. Nowadays, our latest technologies are more compatible with this type of screen where we have a larger horizontal length than a vertical length. And so if you forget, remember, the larger one is always the horizontal. So go with the larger one first, larger, which is always horizontal. Okay, this is not something that will be tested, but just for your own information. Multiply or like 20, let's say 1080x 720, this is your vertical. Okay, so this might answer the question which was raised by, just a moment, who asked it. Yes, Rayan asked, sir, pixels for the horizontal side are written before. So ab aapko pata hoga ki the larger one, we always write the x axis first and then it's the y axis. So it's x followed by what? Y axis. So now we are also done with this. But remember, yesterday when we were discussing sound volumes and all that, we discussed some words like high sampling resolution, high sample rate, which allowed us to improve the quality of the sound audio which we were dealing with. But now, if I want to increase the quality of some image, how will I be doing that? So for that, just a moment, guys. Ek second, ruko. Let me open up a file because I had one document which I was reading yesterday, and it was really, really helpful. Um, I will be sharing that document with you guys too. So I really liked one thing. उसमें एक चीज लिखी हुई थी that was really cool. So yes, chapter number 1. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Hmm. Here they are. So when we are representing images, understand that whenever we are dealing with an image, let's say now Saifullah took that picture on his phone, which had a sun, which had the mountains, and then it had a tree. But now, when you convert that to computer, the computer stores it as binary, right? But this image is known. This image, once the computer gets the image, this is called as a bitmap image. Bitmap image. So the question examiner might be again and again using the word bitmap image. So just know that bitmap image is any image that is basically made up of from pixels, series of pixels. So if there is an image which is made up of from series of pixels, that is known as a bitmap image. Okay, and then this series of pixels are like converted, each of the pixel is converted into a different binary value, and then that is basically processed. So if you want to do some editing or you want to share it, you basically create an image. That image is basically a bitmap image which is created of different sort of pixels, and each of the pixel is converted into a binary number, and then once we have it converted into binary number, the computer then processes it. So this is the basic mechanism of how a computer works. And now we have understood what's resolution. The greater resolution it is, the higher is the quality going to be, because as you increase the resolution, you can have more number of pixels, and so we will be having a sharper and a more detailed image. But let's say initially, if I have only 2 pixels, if I only use 2 pixels, this means maybe if I make up an image like this, it might be having 2 colors. One could be blue, and then the other could be, let's say for instance, red. Now it only has a red and blue, right? This is red and then this is blue. So the maximum amount of storage it might be taking will be 2 bits. Let's, for instance, okay, this is an example. It might be occupying only 2 bits. But let's say I'm now dealing with a document which has 12 pixels, an image which has 12 pixels. Now this means it can have 12 different shades, right? It could have like 4, and then I might have 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But it could have green, yellow, blue, indigo, orange, some other color, maybe red. So if I have all these colors, definitely purple, exactly, we're going to have different colors. Now when we have different colors, it's going to occupy more space, so maybe it also occupies 12 bits. Now when it occupies more amount of bits, why will it be occupying more amount of bits? Because each of the pixel will be having a different binary, right? This will be having maybe 0011. Remember when we were discussing those hexadecimal values, and I mentioned that hexadecimal are also used for color codes. So each of these value will be having a relevant hexadecimal code. Then G might be having something 1100, maybe this is some hexadecimal AE5 and something of that sort. But now if I add up the binary values of all this, it will give me a very big number. Now when it has a very big number, it will be occupying more space. So higher resolution also means that it equals to more space. So if you use an image, if you get an image of higher resolution, it will be occupying more space. Now in your phones, you have these options of taking, if you guys have an iPhone, in your iPhone camera, you are given the option to, let me guys show you up just a moment. So if I don't know how do I show this to you, but there is this option of okay guys, let me explain it. Yeah, इस तरह आप लोग को नजर आ रहा है. So but there is this option up here which is basically HD 60 hertz, but if I change it, I get the word 4K. Now I'm recording in 4K. No, it's not something confirmed, it's just like an example for now. Okay, that 1 pixel, let's say 1 bit, this is just an example. So if I record in 4K, what's the difference going to be if I record it in like HD? The only difference is that when I record it in 4K, I will have more number of bits. And when I have more number of bits, I will be occupying more space, but I will be having a better quality. Yes, Saifullah.
Its image will be enlarged, like we will be seeing enlarged picture. Like
Exactly.
its pixels are more.
Exactly, 100%. Saifullah is correct. Now I'm coming to that point. Let's say there is an image which only has 20 pixels. But if I want to bring it to a screen which has like 120 pixels display, maybe 120 pixels could be maybe if I have 60 pixels like this and 22 pixels like this. But now if I want to bring this image onto the screen, Now this picture will get pixelated. Let me give you guys, let me download a pixelated image. आप लोग को समझ आ जाए pixelated image. Now whenever there is an image which is not really very clear, we have this very good person picture. Yeah, ये ले लेते हैं. This is better. Let me take a screenshot. And so let me just copy it up here. So look at this image, guys. From files, I just took a screenshot, right? So desktop. Okay. So look at this. We have, this is from Google, by the way, not my entity or not my property something. So it's from Google, okay? And the exact website is ResearchGate. So it's from ResearchGate. अगर बाद में कोई देखना चाहे, we should be giving proper credits to whatever person is creating those images. Okay, so let's say we have these two images. The first one, this is clear, whereas this is blur. Now why is the second one blur? The second one is blur because of the reason that whenever we are dealing with a picture which has limited amount of pixels, let's say this one, it has 20 pixels, whereas this might be, let's say this has 20 pixels, whereas this might have 120 pixels. Why it has 120 pixels? Because it has better quality. We are trying to increase the quality, so we ensure that the picture has more number of pixels so that it can have better color shade, better or better colors, more amount of colors, better shades, and better overall sharpness of the image. But now if I bring this to a screen, usually what happens is if you guys are making some sort of PowerPoint presentation and you get yeah, if you guys are taking some creating some sort of what do we call it, PowerPoint presentation, and उसमें आप लोग Google से कोई picture ले लेते हो, okay, and then you have this option to enlarge it. Like up here, if I want to enlarge this document, I can, like, see, I can enlarge this document. Like the more I enlarge, you see, now if I enlarge it to this extent, let's say, now if I zoom into this, now this image is getting blurred. This image, this is getting blur. This is now blur. See, I'm getting those pixels. If I further zoom in, see, this is now blur clearly. We can see the outline. It's like this. And you see these boxes, these are basically the pixels I was referring to. These are the pixels. But now if I go back and then I reduce the size, let's say I reduce the size back to the original one, now it's getting clear. Why is it getting clear? Because now it's occupying less amount of pixels. If I enlarge the picture, it is occupying more space on my screen. So when it's occupying more space on my screen, this basically means that it is taking more pixels, whereas the picture originally had limited amount of pixels. So it gets blurred. But when I reduce the overall space it is occupying, now this specific image is only occupying this amount of space. It's only occupying this space. Let me highlight it. It's only occupying this specific slot. And rather than the original one where it was occupying nearly the whole screen of mine. So when it is occupying less amount of space on my screen, the benefit is that when it's occupying less amount of screen space on my screen, it is much more clear because the image amount of pixel the image had, that is equal to the equivalent place where I'm just trying to paste the image right now. But if I enlarge it, then it will be requiring more pixels. But the image does not have that many pixels. It has a limited 120 pixel set slot, so it's just gonna get blurred. So is this clear? Yeah, that's something different. That should be something जो आप लोग bio में पढ़ो. I don't want to go into that. If you squint your eyes, the image is gonna get clear. But yes, if you are someone who wears glasses, I personally do. So I do very well know that when you can't see anything, you just do like this, like the Chinese, and then you actually see the image in a much better way. Now, there is something जो कि usually इतना होता नहीं है, लेकिन एक और बात है, एक term है which we need to study. Like yesterday, remember yesterday we studied what? Sampling resolution and stuff like that, right? Today we are going to be studying something known as color depth. Color depth. What is color depth? Color depth is basically, it refers to the number of bits, number of bits, number of bits, which are basically used to represent each color. Used to present each color. Each color. If I say I'm specifying 1 bit, for 1 for red. Okay, and this means that if this is 1 pixel, let's say this is 1 pixel, I can only have a single shade of red. Okay, but let's say I specify 10 bits for a singular red. This means I can maybe have, if this is 1 pixel, I could have like further 10 boxes in this, maybe, for instance, just for explanation. Okay, and then I could have different amount of shades of red, and then that color will be something which is much more better in quality, better quality. But it is better quality, but there is a catch to it. It is occupying more number of bits, right? So the number when we so the concept right now which we are discussing, that is related to color depth, it basically teaches us that color depth is defined as the number of bits which are used to represent each color. So if I increase the color depth, this basically means that I'm increasing the number of bits which are used to represent each color. And so if I increase the number of bits, originally I might be only representing a single shade. But if I increase it to something like 10 bits, then I can have a much better, a new type of color which might not have been there previously. And so if I have something like this means I'll be having better quality. So this word is important to understand. Color depth. They usually ask you, like I've told you yesterday, specimen paper, they did give us a question on this. They might clearly ask, define color depth. So you should exactly just write this definition. It is the number of bits used to represent each color. But now it's important कि अगर मैं ये बोलूं that I have a picture which has an 8-bit color depth. Usually in questions they mention something like this. We have an image which has an 8-bit color depth. What do I mean by 8-bit color depth? What do we mean by 8-bit color depth? Now 8-bit color depth basically tells us one very cool thing. It tells us, it tells us the number of colors. It tells us the number of colors which can be represented on the screen, which can be rep- Yeah, guys, my screen just got stuck. Yes, my screen got stuck. No need to leave. Is it back? Is it clear now? Can you guys clearly see me doing this hello to you all? Let me know quickly in the chat. Yeah, my screen got stuck. Yes, it did get stuck. नो वरीज, अभी इसका मैं करता हूँ कोई हल. आज मैं इंटरनेट पैकेज वालों को फोन करता हूँ क्योंकि there should be no disruption. Don't worry guys, I will solve this issue. I will get back to the people जो भी PTCL वाले. Yeah, my pixel just got lost. Really, Ahmed. My pixel just got lost. But back to where I was. So I was discussing color depth. I was saying that color depth tells us the number of colors which can be represented on the screen. And how does it tell me how many the number of colors I want to represent? Maybe I want to take a picture right now. Okay, I want to take a picture of this class right now. Okay, and let's say I keep this in my mind that I will be using 8 bits of color depth. Like let's say if I had the choice, I want to use an 8-bit color depth. What does the 8-bit color depth basically mean? It tells me that how many colors can I use. So if I use an 8-bit color depth, I can have 256 colors. I can create an image having 256 colors. But now the important question is, how do I know this? How do I know this? I know this. And how do I know this? The basic mechanism to this is if I want to find number of colors, the easiest, simplest formula type of thing is number of colors is equal to 2 raised to power the bit value. Bit value. So how did I get to know? And why am I doing it again? 2 raised to power something? Because as I mentioned at the very start of the topic, we are dealing with binary numbers. Binary number are base 2 number system, which means it's either 1 or it's 0. So I get the number of colors this way, 2 raised to power. I'm creating an image using a bit of 8-bit color depth. I have a color depth of 8-bit value for color depth. Color depth. 2 raised to power 8 gives me 256. At the same time, let's say Ahmed wants to take a very beautiful picture for his Instagram mountains pictures page, let's say, for instance. And then he's deciding on whether to go with 8-bit or 16-bit. Now, if he goes with 8-bit, definitely it will be occupying less space because we are using limited number of bits. But let's say he goes with 16 bits. This means he will be having a much better quality, and this means it will be occupying more space too. But when he goes with 16 bits, there is one advantage. The advantage is that he can have 2 raised to power 16 number of colors, which is basically 2 raised to power 16 is इसका तो नहीं पता, but let's say if he goes with 24 bit, because that's something यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है, if he goes with 24 bit, then 2 raised to power 24 gives us 16 million plus colors. 16 million plus colors. So just have a look. Originally, if he wanted to go with 8-bit, he could have only created the image using 256 colors or 256 relevant shades. But if he goes with 24 bits, which will definitely be occupying way more space, 2 raised to power 16. Thank you so much, Saifullah. Yes, if he goes with 16 bits, then he will be having 65,536 colors. But if he goes with 24-bit, he will be having more than 16 million colors. Now, you might be thinking we don't even have 16 million colors in this world. It's not about 16 million. The important thing to understand right now is that 16 million colors might also mean 16 million different shades. So maybe red color on its own has maybe hundreds and thousands of shades. So if you apply the same concept to all the relevant colors, we can have even more than 16 million colors. And so if you have 16 million colors, this means your quality will be very, very good. So is it clear till this point? Yes or no? Exactly. 2 power 24 is 16 million something ish. So guys, is it clear till this point? Yes or no? I just turned off my camera because it was lagging a bit. So higher quality, higher file size. Exactly. बिल्कुल ऐसा ही है. Now, because when we use a higher color bit rate, एक second के लिए कई file. Oh, yeah. So when we are using a higher color depth, okay, this basically means that we have more number of colors. Let me just make the diagram up here. Color depth, if I use a high color depth, this means I can have more number of colors. And when I have more number of colors, this definitely means that I will have more binary values, because each specific binary color or shade will be occupied using a binary value. And if I use 24 bits, this means each of the 1 bit will be having a different binary value for every pixel. Remember, I can represent around 16 million plus colors for a single pixel. Okay, I can create such a big shade, a different type of shade. And now each pixel will be having some binary value. This means that each color will be having a unique binary value, which simply means that it will be occupying more space. So if you increase the quality of some image or some videography, video, or maybe some 4K photograph, the only concern is that it will be taking much more space. Otherwise, it will be having very, very good quality, but apart from that, it will be only occupying more space. So the benefit is much higher quality, clear image, no fuzzing or such blur thingy. This is also known as fuzz. I guess it's known as fuzzing, but let's ignore it. Just know that it's blur. Okay, so blur नहीं होगी आपकी image if you use a higher color depth image. So these are some concepts जो कि आप लोग को पता होना चाहिए. But अब इसमें ना एक और मजे की बात है. Let's say I tell Saifullah something कि I want you to calculate a file size. Calculate the file size. Calculate the file size. Now there is a question on this in your exam. आते रहते हैं. So it's a 3-mark question. ये फिर हम बाद में कल करेंगे भी इसको काफी डिटेल से. It's a 3-mark question which basically says something like, let me just write up the question. An image is measures 100 by 80 pixels by 80 pixels, 100 by 80 pixels, and has 128 colors, and has a bit rate of, and has a color depth kar lete hain, and has a color depth of 7 bits, 7 bits. Calculate the file size. Calculate the file size. Now, before moving on to learning how we calculate the file size, it's important to understand that जब आप file size को calculate करते हो ना, इसमें आप सबसे पहले ये देखो, the question says an image measures 100 by 80 pixel. What is this specific thing? 100 by 80. What is 100 by 80? This is your screen resolution. Screen reso. This is your screen resolution. So 100 by 80 pixel is your screen resolution. It's the same thing which I was mentioning. So it's 100 x 80 in this very specific example. And then it has a color depth of 7 bits. Now I need to calculate the file size. What's the formula? The formula or the equation, we do have some small type of equation. So if I write the formula is basically screen resolution, screen resolution screen resolution multiplied by your color depth. But अब आप यहाँ पे ये देखो कि जब आपका इसका आंसर होगा ना, that answer will be given in bits. In bits. Remember at the start we studied something कि 8 bits equals to 1 byte. If the question clearly mentioned something like give answer in bytes, give answer in bytes, how will I be finding the correct answer? So firstly, हम bits के अंदर देखेंगे what's the answer going to be. It will be 100 multiply by 8 multiply by 7. Easy. अब ये लोग आप लोग को ना इतने, yes exactly Saifullah, we will be dividing it. So अब ये आप लोग को ना इतने complex, क्योंकि calculator is not allowed, they won't be giving you such complex numbers. Okay, simple. So 800 into 7. What is 800 into 7? It's the same basic maths. अगर आप 80 into 7 कर लेते हो, it's 5600. But this is 5600 what? अब इसके साथ unit लिखना होता है. This is 5600 bits. How do I know I'm dealing with bits? How do I know I'm dealing with bits? I know that I'm dealing with bits because I had a color depth of 7 bits. Now, if it was something like 7 bytes, then the answer would have clearly been 5600 bytes. But it is only bits. So I will be, yes, exactly. Now, the question was give answer in bytes. Now, how am I going to convert? Now, I need to convert this into bytes, right? I need to convert the bits into bytes. I need to convert this. To get the right pen, convert into bytes. How will I be converting that? So remember, 8 bits equals to 1 byte. So if I want to convert bits into byte, it will be 5600 divided by 8, and you get the answer as 700 bytes. 5600 divided by 8. Why 8? Because 1 byte has 8 bits. So we get the answer as 700 bytes. This is the very, very, very simple type of formula which you guys need to understand, and it's really zaruri too. Is this clear? Let's do one other example too. आप लोग को उसके साथ और भी clear हो जाएगा. Let's say I want you guys to do this question. I have a screen, an image which has 200 x 35 pixels, and it's using a color depth of maybe 5 bits. Give me the answer in bytes. Quick. I guess I got disconnected too. Chalo, Riyan just got the answer. So, yes, Saifullah.
1 byte is equal to 8 bytes.
8 bits. 8 bits. 1 byte is equal to 8 bits. Bilkul. It's up here. 1 byte equals to 8 bits. Let's do it together. 200 into 35. And then if you divide, multiply by 5, and then you divide it by 8. Okay. So, yes, Saifullah.
437
4
point.
No, not point 0.5. It's 4375 bytes. Let's do it together. देखो, you can make such errors. अब इसलिए इनका ख्याल रखना है. How did I get the answer? It will be 200 multiplied by 35 for the screen resolution multiplied by the color depth, which is of 5 bits. If I do this on calculator, it's 200 into 35 into 5, it's 35,000. Maybe Saifullah, you counted this as 3,500, it's 35,000. If I divide 35,000 by 8, yes, if I divide it by 8, I get it as 4,375 bytes. But अब इसके बाद ना हमने एक और चीज भी पढ़नी है, which I missed basically yesterday की क्लास में. Is this clear how I can calculate the file size? Maybe वो चीज मैं कल बाद में discuss कर लेता हूँ when we are doing questions. But now we need to discuss one very important thing. Just a moment. Let me just copy this image. I save to downloads and then let me just paste it up here. This was a diagram which I took from some notes, downloads, and I will be writing the notes name up here too. Take again. Let me just enlarge this. So, guys, can you see this specific? Yeah, time short. 10 minutes mein ho jayega, don't worry. So we have this. We call this the data memory sizes. Okay. Till now, you guys have understood what's bits and you guys have understood what's a byte. We also have understood what's a nibble. But if you look at your computer or your device, whatever you're using, you always deal with MB, GBs, and TBs. So I say like my phone has a storage of 128 GB. And then maybe yes, bilkul terabyte tak it's enough. But it's important because the technology is evolving. Terabyte is something which you guys should know. Okay, TB तक तो वैसे भी पता होना चाहिए. So how does it goes? आपको मैं इसमें ना पहले basically ये समझाता हूँ कि the whole concept starts from bits. 1 bit is equal to 1 binary value. Okay, 1 value of binary. And then if we have 8 bits, it's known as 1 byte. Here, after byte, the concept is a bit different. After that, if we combine 1,000 bytes, then it is known as KB. KB is basically kilobyte. Then if I combine 1,000 KB, it is known as 1 megabyte, which is known as 1 MB. Usually when you download some game from the Play Store or App Store, it's like 356 MB. So that 356 MB is basically 356 megabits. And so if I ask you to convert the megabits into kilobytes, it will be just multiplying it with 1,000 because 1 MB has 1,000 KBs. And then if I further go on, 1,000 MB is basically 1 GB. 1 GB or 1 GB basically means gigabyte. And if I continue up here, if I continue this, if I get 1,000 GB, if I get 1,000, I'm coming to that point. Wait, Rihanna, I'm coming to that point. If I have 1,000 GB, it's known as 1 TB, which is 1 terabyte. And if I have 1,000 TB, जो कि अभी तक बहुत नहीं होता, this is not common nowadays. The largest size usually we get with computers is either 1 TB or 2 TB. But in the future, if let's say you have a hard disk of 1,000 TB, फिर उसको बोला जाएगा 1 TB, which is 1 petabyte. ही होगा 1 petabyte या petabyte होगा, petabyte ही होगा, let's say 1 petabyte. So 1 PB बोलो, but कि just a second, let me confirm it because I'm not sure whether it's petabyte or petabyte. 1 petabyte. Okay, it's petabyte. Yes, it's petabyte. It's not petabyte. It's petabyte. It's 1 petabyte. अब आप लोगों ने इसमें कोई ज्यादा मेमोराइज नहीं करना, but you guys should be knowing it at least till 1 TB. It's better to know it till 1 PB in my opinion. Just understand that we have bits, and then 8 bits form 1 byte, and then 1,000 bytes form 1 KB, and then 1,000 KB forms 1 MB, and then 1,000 MB forms 1 GB, and then 1,000 GB forms 1 TB, and then 1,000 TB forms 1 petabyte or 1 PB. But अब यहाँ तक तो समझ आ गई है, लेकिन there is a problem. I said that we have 1000 bytes, 1000 kilobytes, 1000 MB. But in reality, our computer, like if I say 1000 bytes, ye mein kya karu? It's basically 10 raised to power something, right? If I say 10 raised to power 10, it's going to give me 1000. If I say 10 raised to power 20, that will be giving me what? It's going to give me 10,000. 1000,000 bytes. Say बाइट्स हो गए या बिट्स 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 ओके बिट्स बट हमारा कंप्यूटर तो 10 की पावर पे ऑपरेट ही नहीं करता 10 की पावर वाज व्हाट 10 की पावर वाज डेनरी राइट we our computer understands only binary so if I want to do 2 raised to power something the value is going to be different so this is the conventional numbering system of data that we always when we are trying to find some sort of value or give something a value size value we go like 1 byte 1 KB, 1 MB, 1 GB, 1 TB, 1 PB. But in reality, the computer doesn't understand 1 GB because 1 GB, 1 gigabyte has how many MBs? It has 1000 MBs. But in reality, our computer doesn't operate like this because 1 GB should have 2 raised to power 30. 2 raised to power 30 has an equivalent denary value of 1073741824. But if we only convert, just तरह हमने यहाँ से किया ना 8 bits and then I said that 1000 bytes and 1000 kilobytes. If I multiply 1000 with 1000, I'm just going to be getting an answer of 10000000000. But there's a difference. See, आपके यहाँ पे straight 1000000 आ रहे, but then at this side you are getting something like 1073741. Why do we have this difference? We have this difference because here we made it simplified for the consumer कि आप binary के terminology में ना जाए. You should not be going with 2 raised to power something. Rather, we say that we are going with 10 raised to power, let's say 30. Yes, Saifullah.
Will we memorize it?
No, you don't have to memorize it. You don't have to memorize it at all. इसमें कुछ याद करने की जरूरत नहीं है. इसमें usually बच्चों को होता है कि आप याद करो, but no need to memorize it. Maximum इतना ज़हन में रख लो कि 1 अब इसमें आप लोगों ने क्या याद रखना है? ये चीजें याद रखनी है कि 1 byte is equal to 8 bits. 1000 bytes is equal to 1 KB, 1000 KB equals to 1 MB, 1000 MB equals to 1 GB. And also, अब इसमें ये मैं आपको explain कर रहा था ना कि this mechanism, this system is for the users, for consumers. But the actual original thingy is this one, which is the actual method, which the computer understands. Now, examiner can give you either method. They can you can like they can ask you to memorize the method beneath or not memorize it, sorry, they can give you a question to calculate a file size using either this the lower method or the above method. The important thing is कि आपने यहाँ पे इनके नाम्स को mess up नहीं करना. When we talk about, let me just check एक second, इसको हम ना एक specific नाम देते हैं. So okay, यहाँ पे नाम नहीं लिखा, लेकिन there is a slight difference between their names too. Look at the names. ये है actual method. Okay, this is your actual one. This is actual. But for the conventional user one, it's not kibibyte, it's kilobyte. It's kilobyte. Then it's not mebibyte, it's megabyte. And just on, if I continue, it's not gigabyte, it's gigabyte. And then it's not TB byte, it's terabyte. And it's not PB byte, it's petabyte. Okay. So to convert it by we have to multiply the number. Okay, I'm coming to that. Now they go. If the question says like above, I asked you to give me an answer in bytes. See? Now in bytes, we got to bytes, right? We got to 700 bytes. But let's say if the part B was give me an answer in megabytes. Now you should know that megabytes is MB. MB में करने के लिए what do we have to do? We need to divide by 1000 so that I get a KB, and then I need to further divide by 1000 to get a MB. So how will I be doing that? I will be doing it like 700 bytes, है ना? So I will do 700 divided by 1000. This is 0.7 KB. Okay, now this is kilobyte, and then I again divide it by 1000. I will get the answer as 0.07 MB. But how did I get to know कि यहाँ पे मैंने 1000 से divide करना है, not 1024? Just a minute. 1024. Because the question clearly mentioned कि it's megabyte. Now, if the question asked me maybe कि give me an answer in maybe byte, if I wanted to get an answer in maybe byte, तो maybe byte में करने के लिए I would have divided by 1024. So if they ask you to give an answer, here's the final tip. If asked to give answer, आपको इनके नाम याद होने चाहिए. ओके, मेगाबाइट, कीबीबाइट और किलोबाइट, मेगाबाइट, इस तरह के डिफरेंसेस शुड बी क्लियर. ओके, आई विल सेंड अ टेबल, वो आप लोग देख लो, यू विल गेट अ गुड आइडिया. इफ आस्क्ड टू गिव आंसर इन द कन्वेंशनल वे, in the conventional way, what's the conventional way? The conventional way is your kb, then you have your MB, and then you have your GB. If you are asked to give an answer in this way, then you need to multiply or divide by 1000. Okay, because in the conventional method we only have 1000. But if asked to give answer in the actual way, answer in the actual way. What's the actual way? The actual way is basically aapka maybe byte, kb byte, and ye wala. Those are written like this: KIB, kb byte; MIB, maybe byte; GIB, GB byte. Okay, GIB. If asked to give answer in this form, then you need to multiply or divide by 1024. And now, how did I get to know that I need to do it with 1024? Because it's 2 raised to power 10. 2 raised to power 10 is 1024. But for the conventional number system, we assume that we should not be going with 2. Rather, we assume that let's go with 10 raised to power 2. 10 raised to power, एक second. It was 10 raised to power 20 or 10th, I guess. 10 raised to power 10. 10 raised to power, yeah, एक second. 10 raised to power क्या था? यार, I will confirm this, इसको अभी छोड़ो. But it was 10 raised to power the number. 2 raised to power 10 is 1024. But yes, बिल्कुल आप लोगों को समझ आ गया ना. It's 10 raised to power, I guess it was 10 raised to power 10, which was 1000. Okay, या इसी तरह था या नहीं था, but it was 10 raised to power something. I will correct this कल. अभी के लिए just understand कि that had the conventional denary system. When we were dealing with denary numbers, we were getting the number as 1000. But when we are dealing with the actual में तो हमारे पास binary होता है, तो binary के लिए हम 2 raised to power 10 कर रहे थे, so we got 1024, and here we had 1000. So क्योंकि there is slight differences, हमने इसके numbering और naming system को थोड़ा सा different बना लिया, but this is the main concept. ये आप लोग कल हम इसको practice करेंगे further. We will be doing several questions, तो उसमें आपको clearly समझ आ जाएगा कि कब 1000 के साथ divide करना है and कब 1024 के साथ करना है. So is this clear? And did you guys get the concept? No, unfortunately, we have one very minor topic about compression left. वो हम कल करेंगे, and then we are done with the topic, inshallah. So कल हमारा हो जाएगा. So बाकी भी बता दें. Riyan said yes sir. Good Riyan, good. Saifullah Ahmad, बाकी Usaim, आप लोग भी बताओ. Is the topic clear or not? Good. Saifullah को भी clear हो गया. Ahmed also yes, good, good. Chalo, we are done with the topic here. And if you guys have any questions, I will share the recording. आप लोग वो भी देख सकते हो. And that's it for today. Let me just end up the recording. And but the link which I shared with you all, let me stop it.